I'm Marthel Neville, and you are in the strategy room. Hillary Clinton is taking a stand against President Obama and congressional leaders on a major trade pact. Clinton said in a recent interview that if she were still in Congress, she'd vote against giving President Obama fast-track authority on a pending trade deal because it doesn't have guarantees to protect affected workers. Here now with the reaction is Professor Jeanne Zaino from Iona College and T.J. McCormack, former media specialist for Astorino for governor. Good to see both of you. Welcome. Thanks. Jeanne, I'll start with you. How important is it for Hillary Clinton to speak out on this issue?
Very important. And my concern here is it's a little bit too late. She waited till the 9th hour to speak out on this. You know, she had been hemming and hawing. She couldn't quite commit. Bernie Sanders had called her out on it. Several other people had. Now she comes out and says she's against the fast track. I'm not so certain why she didn't know that before. And the other part of this, which I find interesting, is she's against it because she says it doesn't have guarantees for workers. But the question that has to be asked, would she have voted for the TAA? And let's remember the TAA was that, you know, that safety net for workers. So if they had coupled those together, would she have supported both? I don't think we got an answer to that. So I still think that she has issues that she's got to address in terms of her work on free trade. And it's hard to make the transition for somebody who talked about this as the gold standard of a trade agreement not that long ago and supported trade agreements and was married to somebody who pushed through NAFTA and worked for somebody who supports the TPA to now come over to this side, so, or TPP rather. So I think there's
going to be guilty by marriage?
Not guilty by marriage, but she is somebody who described the TPP as the gold standard of free trade.
I was talking about
and and NAFTA, you're right. But
let's move on. TJ, I want you to react to what Jeanne just said, but also specifically, how do you think, TJ, that Secretary of State Clinton's decision on trade will impact her stance in the 2016 Democratic primaries?
Well, this seems like it was a useful moment for her. Everybody was wondering when would she start stepping away from President Obama? You know, when would she start stepping away from her former boss? And it seems like, yeah, it took a little bit of time, and I guess maybe they were in a process of deciding when that, and here it was. It presented an opportunity for her. She had and it's a pretty standard argument. What is she saying? She's saying that the basis for her disagreement is also that this bill has been split in two now, and she's concerned that about consistency and about whether or not the two would pass separately as now presented. And so it's a wishy-washy bill. Gave her an opportunity to say, you know what, plausible deniability, I don't like how it's built now, so I'm going to step away. And now she's made her first push away from the president, so it's useful.
Yeah, now I have a question about that, though, because this is somebody,
well,
and I think, I'm asking you, TJ, because from a strategic perspective, they are running towards Obama on so many things because they feel they want to repeat his 2012 coalition to win. And so my very question is, does it make sense for her to distance herself on this? Because how is she going to both maintain his coalition and work against him? I think that can be problematic. I think they have to make a decision on how they're going to run.
Because trade agreement is not as sexy as things like things like war and things.
Trade is sexy. Come on, TJ.
That's not all this stuff we're talking about is not exactly the hands-on kind of stuff that the rabid base is going to really respond to. I don't think. You know, I think this is something that's a little bit more kind of inside baseball. But you know, I don't know. It's just
but she will
we're not talking ISIS. This isn't war in Iraq.
She will get hit hard by the AFL-CIO, the unions, labor, and environment. I mean, those are huge contingents of the Democratic base.
And when you think about who the other side is, Bernie Sanders, he could very well start courting favor with them. Again, the whole, you know, push to the, he might force her to the left a little bit. But again, she had to make some departure from Obama at some point.
But I think part of what troubles me is I think it's so hard to believe, coming from somebody with her background on free trade, that now she's opposed to it. And I understand procedurally and all these things. But I think that gets back to the issue that people are frustrated with the double talk. Stand where you stand, tell us why, and move forward, because it feels an awful lot like I've been for it, I've been against it.
Right.
And she's going to get caught in the same thing John Kerry did and others, where she's, you know,
and
wafting around.
Let's not forget, when you talk about double talk, we're talking about a woman who will command $500,000, $300,000 to go and speak, and she's about to start 18 months of lecturing America on income inequality. So,
but what,
I'm just saying, double speak.
You can have money and still understand the plight of people who don't have money.
You can, but, you know, don't start demonizing. I'm just saying, I look forward to watching her articulate that.
I appreciate interesting conversation. Thanks to both of you, Jeanne and TJ. Good to see you both. And check out foxnews.com for more on the 2016 presidential race. I'm Marthel Neville. Thanks for watching.